The room felt wrong before the words arrived. I noticed a scratch on the conference table that hadn't been there last week, a low clicking sound from the printer in the corner, the way my father didn't look at me when he said my name. "We're giving the equity to Brent," he said. "Now get out. You're fired." It sounded rehearsed, clean, like he'd practiced it so the syllables wouldn't snag on anything human. I waited for someone to explain what that meant. I said, "So you sold my code." My mother laughed, not cruelly, not kindly, just dismissively. "We sold our company." I looked at Brent. He kept his eyes on his notebook like it might protect him. I didn't shout. I didn't ask again. I picked up my bag and walked out, the way you do when you suddenly realize the building you're in doesn't belong to you anymore. I had written most of the product alone in the early years, nights when my parents had already gone home, weekends when the office lights were off except for mine. We had argued about ownership once. They said, "We're family. It's all ours." I had believed them. Outside, the air felt thin. I stood on the sidewalk and tried to remember what version of myself had walked into that room. Someone who still thought work could be separated from blood. Someone who thought loyalty was enough to be safe. I didn't go home. I went to a coffee shop and sat with my laptop closed, hands wrapped around a cup I didn't want. I kept replaying my mother's laugh, the way it turned the word "or" into a door. For 2 days I did nothing. Not in protest, just because I didn't know what movement looked like anymore. On the third day, I opened old folders, not to build a case, just to understand how I'd been removed from my own work. There was a licensing document I didn't remember signing, a version with my name typed in but not in my handwriting, a timestamp that didn't match the meeting we were supposed to have had. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Families make mistakes. Companies make mistakes. Then I found more. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't send angry messages. I took the documents to a lawyer I had never met. She read quietly, then said, "This isn't a family problem. This is a legal one." I nodded, but it didn't make me feel steadier. It made me feel like something had finally dropped through the floor. She asked what I wanted. I said, "I don't want revenge. I just want the truth to be where it belongs." She said, "Then you have to be willing to let go of who it hurts." I didn't answer right away. For weeks, my life felt like waiting in a hallway where no one would tell me what door I was standing near. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a company. I had a name that still opened some emails and closed others. My parents didn't call. Neither did Brent. The lawyer told me the documents suggested more than just a bad firing. She said the words slowly, like they might bruise if said too hard. Potential federal issues. I signed what she put in front of me. The meeting was in a building that didn't look important enough to hold consequences. A man with a badge and a woman with a recorder asked me to tell the story in my own words. I didn't dramatize it. I didn't protect anyone either. I told them when I wrote the code. I told them what I was told about ownership. I told them when things started changing without me. They didn't react. They just listened and asked for dates. I walked out feeling lighter and heavier at the same time. The day the company announced a major transition meeting, I was already in the building. Not as an employee. As a witness, I sat in the back. My parents didn't see me at first. They were smiling. Brent looked like he had practiced smiling too. My father said something about growth, about vision, about legacy. Then the door opened again. A man I recognized from the meeting stood up. He didn't interrupt. He waited for my father to finish. Then he said, calmly, "Actually, before you continue, there are some questions that need to be addressed." No shouting. No flashing lights. Just a shift in the air so clear you could almost hear it. My mother's smile froze in the wrong shape. The meeting ended early. People left quietly, like they had stepped into a room where a ceiling had cracked and no one wanted to be the one under it. My parents didn't look at me as they passed. I didn't follow them. What happened after wasn't dramatic. It was procedural. Papers, calls, silence. The company changed hands again, this time with rules no one could pretend were flexible. My parents moved somewhere smaller. Brent stopped answering messages from anyone he used to impress. No one apologized once. Months later, my mother sent a text that said, "I never thought you'd go that far." I typed, "You went to that room first." Then I erased it and didn't send anything. I don't work there anymore. I don't work with them. I don't even talk about them much. Sometimes people ask why I didn't fight louder, why I didn't stand up in that first meeting and make a scene. I think about the version of me who still believed that love and fairness were the same thing. I didn't lose my voice that day. I just stopped spending it in rooms where it had already been sold.